Springfest at Lowe's means can't miss savings for your home and lawn. Right now, buy 3 bags, get 3 free on Miracle-Gro 3/4 cubic foot all-purpose garden soil. Plus, buy 2, get 1 free on select exterior paint and stain via mail-in rebate. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. While supplies last, selection varies by location. See rebate form for complete list of eligible products. Offer excludes clearance and mist tints and can't be combined with any other offer, promotion, discount, or coupon.
Today on CityCast Boise. After years of hustle and dreaming, our city has finally landed men's and women's pro soccer franchises. We're taking a look at how Boise is breaking records even before first kickoff, batting around potential team name ideas, and breaking down what these teams will mean for the City of Trees. It's Tuesday, April 15th. I'm Lindsay Van Allen, and this is what Boise's talking about. Joining me today is Boise Pro Soccer co-founder Bill Taylor. Thanks so much for being here, Bill.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
I'm excited for soccer to be in Boise, so I can't wait. Let's jump into it.
Yeah.
So we have a professional baseball team, the Boise Hawks, and a professional hockey team, the Idaho Steelheads. But now soccer is joining our professional sports scene. What made this the right moment to launch Idaho's first pro soccer franchise?
If you ask most of the soccer aficionados in the area, we're about a decade late. So we've been pushing on this for quite a while. It's been a passion of mine ever since I moved to Idaho in 2004. So I don't know that there was ever a better moment. It definitely is it's a moment where soccer in our country has really exploded. And we have a huge runway moving forward with the Club World Cup coming in June this year, to the United States. And the following year, we have the Men's World Cup. And then you have the Olympics in 28. And then likely we're going to win the bid for 2031 for the Women's World Cup. So this ramp of about 5 years worth of more soccer exposure in our country than we've ever seen anywhere in the world. Actually, no other country will have this level of exposure at an international level.
And Boise recently broke the record for the most ticket deposits sold in USL, or United Soccer League, history. What does that tell you about the appetite for pro soccer here?
Maybe I'm a little different in that perspective because I was involved with bringing the Bass Soccer Friendly with Argia Beresine and the mayor Mayor Beater back in the day in 2015. And when we went through that experiment to really test the market to see what the appetite for soccer was here, I think on our first sales day we sold like 15,000 tickets. The line was around the block, and it was pretty robust. Sold well over 20,000 tickets to that game. And I think that was the first eye-opening experience to kind of let people know that, hey, there's a huge appetite in the Boise market for soccer. We followed that up with the Portland Timbers at the time, who were playing in the USL Championship for their second team, is the Portland Timbers 2, and went to the USL and asked them if we could hold a game here to see, what our market would hold. And so I ran the game out of Rocky Mountain High School in 2017, and we sold out, 5,000 tickets, and we had to actually shut the gates down. The police were like, no, we can't put more people in the stadium for safety reasons. And we played Kansas City. They flew in, and it's still to date the largest out of market USL game in the history of USL. So, that really then caught the attention of what the appetite was, because that's a realistic market, obviously, for us. And we were really able to test it and show that we have a fan base that's really craving it.
What kind of benefits do you think professional soccer teams will bring to Boise?
That's a multifactorial answer. Number one is it's going to affect the community because it'll give entertainment for the fans. That's going to be a huge thing. Number two is it's going to influence all the kids in the area, right? I mean, the opportunity to watch live professional soccer now, it's going to bring eyes to our valley on kids that are here local that usually you had to go travel to California or Seattle or wherever to go find, so you could be seen by people. If you're a kid that's wanting to go to college or to go to the pro level, much harder to be found here in Idaho. But now by bringing a pro team here, you're going to get exposure. You're going to be able to interact with the local clubs, be able to really drive learning opportunities for coaches in the Valley to really transform the sport here locally. It's going to have a massive effect.
And it seems like everything's moving really quickly. There was an announcement and, it's really taking off. So, Bill, what's the timeline from now to first kickoff?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are going to happen. Right now, we're building the front office, right? Ticket sales and all of those things, because those have kicked off, as you've seen. And so front office hires, sporting directors, coaches throughout the summer. We won't be changing the infrastructure to the stadium until after the fair. We anticipate, shovel in the ground, really moving dirt, and we'll have the stadium ready to go by our March kickoff of 2026. But right after the fair, right after the state fair is done, it was when a lot of the infrastructure will be done. After during September and through the winter, through that fall timeframe and early winter, then we'll have a roster. We'll have tryouts and rosters and bringing in players by November, with preseason kickoff probably in January.
And you have to wait for the fair because the stadium's going up at Expo, Idaho. How was that spot chosen as the new home of Boise Pro Soccer?
Well, it's a great asset, right? I mean, it faces the mountains. You've got the river in the background. You're going to have this beautiful new park that is going to be completed in 26 as well. That's 50, 60 acres. I mean, it's an ideal spot. I don't know really any place else you could build this that would make more sense. This is kind of a win-win because, the county benefits, the citizens benefit. It's not costing the taxpayers anything, which is huge. So it's a win for everyone.
And you've mentioned that for previous matches that you've been a part of in this area, thousands and thousands of tickets were sold. So how many seats are going to be in this stadium?
We'll have a capacity for about 7,200. We'll probably cap that a little lower than that to more towards 6,000 to 6,200. The grandstands will be the primary site. You have the turf club that's going to be up and running as well for VIP seats, etc. And then you'll have a supporters wall that'll be behind the south goal. I don't know if you've seen soccer stadiums. A lot of times behind the goal you have this, the fan base with the drums and the flares and all those kind of fun things. So there'll be a grandstand there that'll put 500 to 700 people there, and then like a beer garden on the other side with some stands there as well, more portable. And this is all fairly. Now, I want to say any of this is temporary, but our plans are obviously, to expand from this. So the stadium will change over the next few years.
Perfect. But yeah, for that intro couple games, it sounds like there'll be room for a good amount of people to watch each game.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And I do think that the ticket sale, I mean, it's going to be a tough ticket to get because I just know our community. And so I would definitely encourage people, if they're wanting season tickets, to get them early, because I think that our fan base is similar to the Northwest, Portland, Seattle markets, and they're backlogged with season, you're years out to try and get season tickets for those. And I anticipate that's going to be kind of what happens here.
Hi, I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast. We've all set health goals: lose weight, exercise more, eat better. But without a plan, those goals often fade. That may have happened to you. It has definitely happened to me. And that's where Prolon comes in. Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet gives you a science-backed, structured approach to stay on track and see real results. And now Prolon is upping their game with the new next-gen 5-day program, delivering the same science-backed benefits in a cleaner, more convenient, and more flavorful format. Prolon is a plant-based nutrition program featuring soups, snacks, and beverages designed to nourish the body while keeping it in a fasting state, triggering cellular rejuvenation and renewal. Next Gen builds on the original Prolon with 100% organic soups and teas, a richer taste, and ready-to-eat meals. Developed over decades at USC's Longevity Institute and backed by top U.S. medical centers, Prolon has been shown to support biological age reduction, metabolic health, skin appearance, fat loss, and energy. I've been doing the 5-day program, and I feel so much better. I really enjoy the tasty energy bars, the snacks and soups, and the fact that I can enjoy meals, even though the calorie count is super low. The flavors and textures are excellent. An olive oil snack here, broccoli and quinoa soup there, hibiscus tea, a yummy nut bar. It's got the benefits of a 5-day fast, but doesn't have the challenge of doing it with pure liquids. It's a system reset. And also, I know this sounds funny, but it's not. The packaging and directions are fantastic, clear, and well organized and thoughtful. For a limited time, you can be first in line to experience the new Next Gen at special savings. Prolon is offering CityCast listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day program. Just visit prolonlife.com/city. That's PROLONLIFE.com/city to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/city.
Hey, CityCast. According to me and my calculator, you will spend more time this week between the sheets than you will at work. So upgrade your sheets to Cozy Earth. Luxury starts where you rest. I start my evening in buttery soft Cozy Earth bamboo pajamas. Then I dip into a Cozy Earth bamboo sheet set. They are silky and temperature regulating. Forget the 9 to 5. Prioritize your 5 to 9. Cozy Earth products will transform those hours into a sanctuary, and they take comfort seriously with a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. Luxury should not be out of reach, so Cozy Earth is giving CityCast listeners 40% off their best-selling sheets, towels, pajamas, and more. Visit CozyEarth.com and use the code COZYBOISE for 40% off, because you deserve a great night's sleep, and sanctuary awaits at Cozy Earth.
Bill, along with this news came the announcement that there will be Idaho's first ever professional women's sports team. What kind of significance do you think that adds to this entire endeavor?
Yeah, I mean, the women's sports side of things are exploding in our country right now. In fact, around the world, right? It's not just in our country. You know, I was part of U.S. soccer for a period as the vice president, and I learned a lot about the history of how the culture of U.S. soccer and what they brought to the table. Our women's national team really kind of kicked the door open for all sports, and not just soccer, right? I think basketball and other sports have all benefited from our women's national team exposure, and FIFA is paying attention to it, and there's real money coming into the system. In Europe, it's absolutely going crazy. You have games with, some of the European clubs where they'd get 80, 90,000 people coming to games. And we're excited to be one of those expansion teams here in Boise, several teams out in the East Coast, and they're starting to build more here in the West Coast. By the time we join, I believe there'll be, I have to go back and look at the map, but I believe it's 12 to 14 teams or more will be online by the time we kick a ball in 2027.
So, Bill, I know people are wondering, and I'm interested as well, when will team names be released? I know that's not the most important thing, but it is, very interesting.
It's actually very important. A name matters. So we anticipate the naming, colors and all those things to be in the kind of the May, June timeframe. Maybe a little earlier, but I that's at least from the ownership group, talking with Brad Stith, our CEO, that's probably a safe time frame.
And Bill, if you had complete control over at least one of the team names, what name would you choose? And are you taking suggestions?
We are definitely taking suggestions, and I don't fall into that trap so easily. So I'm gonna bypass that one. I do have a couple in the back of my head. One of them was pretty funny. Actually, one of them was taken by Portland here recently, but it was just more of a joke than anything. We're very careful with the naming. We don't want to be Boston and have to redo our name after we come out with it. So you want to put good investigation into it and research. But we're filtering through them. We're getting closer.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. We don't want to no fumbling on the drop
No
of like the
fumbling.
name. If you're taking suggestions, I have a few, just a couple.
You
I was
go, you
thinking
throw them
about.
out. Throw them out.
Okay. What about like Valley United? I was also thinking FC Perpetua from the Idaho State Model,
Okay.
or the Boise Range. So just a few ideas.
Okay.
Just a few
Wow, you put
ideas.
some serious thought on that. I didn't realize. I mean, maybe I underestimated your soccer following. I didn't know that you were such a fan with soccer. So, you know, I like the thought process. You put some
Thank
research
you.
into
Oh, yeah.
that.
No, soccer is the sport my husband and I follow most closely. And we're very
Perfect.
excited to not have to go out of
Perfect.
state to watch games. So,
Yes. Yes. No, that's great.
so with this completely blank slate, no name, no mascot yet, what kind of an identity are you hoping that these teams will build?
Identity is a unique discussion because you have your on-field identity, right? You have kind of your tactics, your style of play, how you're going to go about um, playing the game, and then what do you look like off the field? How's your community engagement and those kinds of things. And we see ourselves as being integrated, woven into the community. We're our ownership group, and when we bring players in, it will be their goal as well, so that we feel like we're a part of you, right? We'll integrate in all kinds of events. We'll be supportive of things outside of soccer, right? That's the goal. Because to me, that's what soccer is. It's community. It's not just someplace you go and watch a game once a week. That's a great bonus, but you want to really get to know your players. We want our players to integrate into the community, integrate into schools, integrate into the club systems, inspire young kids, and provide great wholesome entertainment for families. So I think that's one piece. I think the on-field part of it. It'll depend a little bit. Those will be ongoing discussions. I've got my opinions on the style of play and tactics that we'd like to employ. I think that would benefit Boise. But once we hire a sporting director and a coach, we'll have more of those discussions, and it'll become more obvious, what we play. It'll definitely be a hard-nosed, somewhat blue-collar way of playing the game, I think. It won't be soft.
I'm excited to see that. That definitely piques my interest more.
Yeah, yeah.
So we could potentially be getting players from all over the country, or potentially international players. What kind of qualities will you be looking for a Boise Pro player?
Yeah, the roster decisions are going to be fairly diverse. USL One is kind of a unique league because you're kind of coming in at the entry point of professional soccer. You're having to scout a very broad group of individuals, right, at USL One. Everything from college players. You have even youth players that are prior to going to college. You have some excellent youth players that you could even potentially bring in, 16, 17-year-olds that are just phenomenal, right? That they may bypass college and might just go into their professional career. Then you have, probably the core players that played college. Maybe they're already in the league, that you have to understand the league really well, because there's a lot of movement in League One. 1-year contracts are fairly common. So you see a player on one team and the next year they're on another team, and there's a lot of movement. So you have to really be keen to the players in your league. And then you have, everything from USL Championship as well as the MLS in our market that you have to keep track of, that you'd be bringing in those kinds of players at different various levels of their playing career. Some of them might be coming towards the end of their career. Some of them might be still trying to make their way up their career. And then finally, you have these international players as well. Many of whom find it very attractive to come into a USL One situation because it's their pathway into the United States, and to get opportunities to live here. So I would imagine our roster being fairly diverse in that way.
Yeah, it sounds like there's going to be a lot to keep in mind and to keep track of and to assess while assembling these teams. Do you think there's maybe a young Boise player who would be ready to be on the team or potentially on the team in a couple of years?
I definitely believe on the boys' side, we will have one or two that will be in strong consideration. And on the women's side, I would say even more so, because we have probably even more success with our girls that have come out of the youth programs, playing in women's sports, especially college Division I levels, and even on to our national team, etc., with Sofia Horta and others. Going back to the original question, I think, we put together, so right now we have an under 20 team that we put together kind of as a way to sample the marketplace here locally. Myself and Michael Kafari, who's a previous MLS player and grew up here in Boise, is coaching an under 20 team where we're taking them to Tampa in about 2 weeks to play in a showcase. And that roster is made up of all local players.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you'll see the roster announcement here in the next few days. So that'll be kind of cool. But that gives us a great evaluation of these players. So kind of a pre-picture of what the talent level is. And there's some pretty special players on this team. As we're in our early phases, we've had probably 4 practices now, but it's pretty encouraging for me to see. I think we'll have more talent here than we think.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Hi, this is Debbie, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep, I am here to help you with everything, from selecting the perfect window treatments
Well, I've got a complicated project.
Oh, not a problem. I can even schedule a professional measure and install. We can also send you samples, fast and free.
I just might have to do more.
Oh, okay.
So the first room we're looking at is for guests.
Shop Blinds.com now and save up to 40% site-wide. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Well, Bill, I'm really pumped. I'm very excited. And something I love about soccer are the rivalries. So with these brand new teams in Boise, who do you think will be some of our biggest rivals? I just want to get ready.
Proximity would be Spokane, right? That's going to be right up the street from us. We're going to have other expansion teams coming. It's kind of hard to know exactly where those rivalries will come from, but I would imagine the West, AV Alta will be one, and Lancaster. I think they also play a pretty unique brand of soccer as well. I like their coach. It also depends on how we view, right? Because our anticipation is we're going to promote right over time. So as soon as promotion relegation comes into play by 2028, which is not very far away, it'll be our second season. That provides an opportunity for us to play even bigger names and teams like Louisville would be. I would love it if we were, had rivalry with Louisville. So that would be pretty fun.
Well, this entire endeavor is very involved, very thorough, very well thought out, but it also sounds like it's going to be a fairly costly project. So where is the funding coming from for these teams, the stadium, all of that?
So we have an ownership group where we raised the money that we needed to be able to start the team and to get things initially off the ground. That's pretty much completed at this point. Proud to say that the overwhelming majority of the owners in the group are all local, which really is important. We had a lot of people come to us and want from outside the Boise market and outside the state that, want to be involved with this. Even foreign investors that would love to come in and be part owners of these projects. because they know the growth of soccer in the country is moving quickly. But yeah, once that happens, then, the ongoing operations, it's game day ticket sales, it's, having jerseys and concessions and, all of the things that, just like Boise State, you become a business like anything else, right? And hopefully your business model works out well so that you can afford the players that you want to get and be able to pay everybody that, to keep pushing us to the next level.
No, and Bill, I really appreciate the thoughtfulness in, at least with initial investing in things, keeping it community-based and local-based. I think that does affect the flavor of the teams and the flavor of the sport in the area. So now, for anyone listening who maybe doesn't love soccer, hasn't been to a pro soccer game, isn't sure how they feel about it, what's your pitch, Bill, to get them to the pitch?
If you just enjoy being a part of a party, then you're going to want to experience it once, right? I mean, even when you're not a fan of soccer per se, the energy and the vibe that you get, especially in a community-driven project like this, where the drums and the march to the field and the flares and the chants and everything else, there's just something about the energy in the building, right, type of thing. And you don't necessarily have to be a huge soccer fan or even understand what offsides is, right? You can just be a part of that energy, and that's the part that I think our community is gonna just rock it. I think we're gonna have a fantastic energy at the field.
No, I love it. Okay, that actually inspired another idea for a team name. What about Boise Vibe?
The Boise Vibe.
Boise Vibe.
It's not bad. It's not bad. None of the suggestions you've given me are bad. Actually, they're pretty unique. So I would say submit them. Right.
Okay.
We'll give you the link at the Boise Pro Soccer link. Right. Submit those suggestions in, and Brad is taking all names.
That's Brad's department. It's fine. I won't be heartbroken if y'all don't choose my choices. That's okay. I get it. Well, Bill, thank you so much for taking the time to break this all down and explain what we can look forward to and what the next steps are, and build some hype around pro soccer in Boise.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun ride. It really is.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. Just one last reminder that today at noon, we'll be at the depot for a live recording. Come take your lunch break with us. And we'll be back tomorrow morning with another look at the best chicken sandwich in Meridian. Catch you then.